Khan TV show, and we came that close. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So the Shuttlepod show has done it again, and it was a brilliant interview with Terry Matalas, the saviour of Star Trek for many people.
This obnoxious email to my agent, the subject was Star, and then the body just said Trek. And he calls me, he's like, what is this? I'm like, just get me in. I want to go back to Star Trek.
This interview really did show us the passion that Terry Matalas has for Star Trek. He told us how he was a Trekkie back when he was a child, watching Star Trek with his family, a few of his favourite episodes, and the movies. The movies really did seem to have made a big impact on him, and I wonder how much of an impact on his entire career.
And then the Star Trek movies were always a part of my summers whenever they would come out, Star Trek.
Were you a standalone fan in the house for Star Trek, or was it?
No,
it was brought to you.
Trekkie. My dad, my mother were Star Trek fans, so I would Sunday afternoons were either a ball game was on or the original series.
I think this is a really interesting point here that Terry Matalas is saying that he was there basically to co-produce in the second season of Picard, and actually they had a plan that was going to be way more sci-fi. I would love to know what Terry Matalas actually meant by that, and he seemed to think that there was some really cool stuff.
COVID happened, but even before COVID, we went through a few versions of season 2, Paramount Plus. There was a far more science fiction version that we really went down the line on before Paramount was like too far, and had us pull back. So there's an alt version of season 2.
Is that right?
That was out there. Yeah.
A big problem for me with Star Trek season 2, other than there was some logical problems with the whole, Borg problem. And I can't help but think they ruined the Borg a little bit in Picard season 2. Or let's say at the very least, they weren't used to their maximum effectiveness. But Terry Matalas is saying that, look, there was some stuff obviously there that was too sci-fi for Paramount. It's Star Trek. How can it be too sci-fi? But we'll back away from that. But I can't help but wonder if some of the weaknesses of Picard season 2, because it always felt like there was too many episodes for not enough story. It was 3 or 4 episodes of Star Trek stretched out over 10 episodes. I can't help but wonder what Paramount forced Terry Matalas and Akiva to remove that could have actually elevated season 2 to something really incredible. We came that close to really brilliant Star Trek in season 2. The first episode is just as good as anything in Picard season 3 for me. It was absolutely phenomenal. I got so excited when that episode dropped, but then it let us down a little bit as the season went on. I can't help but wonder if Terry Matalas had actually just been given the reins, and if Paramount hadn't have got involved, would we have got a much, much better season 2 of Picard than we got? We'll never know.
Did Patrick have a say in anything?
Patrick has a say in everything. Yeah, he's the the producer, and he is Picard. So
right.
you're definitely pitching it out to Patrick quite a bit. Yeah.
Khan TV series is a rumor I've heard quite a few times.
They're like, oh, we're making new stuff. I'm like, what are you making? They're like, we're doing Picard. I was like, put me in, coach. And they were like, we've got people for that. And I was like, no. They're like, but we might be doing a show about Khan. I was like, oh.
About Khan? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? No.
I can tell you, this was a rumor I've heard more recently, actually, that it was something that was being looked at. I didn't realize it got anything like this far to the point of, being greenlit, of them popping champagne. And actually, it was a few years ago. So I thought this was something that was going on more recently.
It looked like it was going to go ahead. And I remember I was in my last mix for 12 Monkeys in the finale, which I had directed. And I got a call and they're like, we just heard that BA is going to make an offer for you to run a Star Trek show. And it's going to be this Khan thing. And I was like, go home and celebrate, get champagne. I did. And then this phone call comes and like, Yeah, they've changed their mind. They're spending so much on Picard that they can't do it. But they'll bring you in for something. And
but a Khan series to me is a fascinating idea. Now, if you're a regular SciTrek, you'll know I don't like prequels. I'm not even that keen on Strange New Worlds. I wish Strange New Worlds wasn't Captain Pike aboard the Enterprise. I wish it was a different captain aboard a different starship. I think that would have been far more interesting, mainly because they'd have had the handcuffs removed. They wouldn't have been painting themselves into a corner because they wouldn't have had to worry about, as much at least, what is about to happen in the next series, the original series. It does really mean that they're limited on the places they can go with the story. If they'd have did a different captain, a different starship, they'd have been freer to a degree. Still limited by the problems with the prequel. But a prequel based around a character like Khan would have been very interesting because it would have told a story about something within the history of the Federation we don't know that much about, the eugenics wars. We do know that he loses, obviously, from the outset of the series, but you'd have known that anyway. But we could have fleshed out one of the most popular characters in Star Trek. We could have actually got to see a lot of then how those wars began, and we'd have got to see them on the end aboard the Botany Bay. Now, I think that would have been absolutely fascinating, but there still a possibility for a Khan series in the future? Well, I have been talking to one of the people I do speak to, because when this rumour came around, for me, it was nothing to do with, I think, what Terry Matalas was talking about. This was a rumour that I heard about plans for a movie in the future. Now, we know they're planning to do a movie every 2 years, and that obviously Section 31, Michelle Yeoh, is going to be the first one, and that we're going into Star Trek 2.0, the next phase of Star Trek. The rumour that I heard, and that I actually didn't believe until I heard Terry Matalas talking about it here, and that's given me a little bit more confidence to talk about it openly, was that one of those TV movies was going to be a Khan film. And the source actually said he's reasonably confident this is going to happen because of two big things. And he actually said, look, they've already kind of told us they're going to do this for two big reasons. Lan Noonien Singh's character in Strange New Worlds is there for a reason. And there is a plan for where her character is going to be going. There is going to be a lot more Khan involved in her future. And she's already met him in the third episode of Strange New Worlds, where her and Kirk went back in time. Part of the point of that episode was to set up, according to this source, the movie that will then follow. The point of the episode was to reset some of the canon, change the time frame slightly so that it would fit in with the plan moving forwards, because obviously they did change basically Khan's age, and they are going to have put back the whole Khan wars, basically the eugenics wars. They've changed the time frame. That was done very much on purpose to fit in with what they're going to do later. So he says those are the two really big indicators that we've got to say that this is actually part of the plan. And what Terry Matalas is talking about here is something they've done with Star Trek a couple of times before. So the Section 31 was supposed to be a TV series. That was the plan when Michelle Yeoh initially left Star Trek Discovery. She was going to be doing the series. Now, that changed over about 12 months. That went from a series to a mini-series to the movie plan because of Michelle Yeoh and how popular she became, and she just doesn't have time to do more than the TV movie. Then they came up with this whole idea of doing the TV movies. Then they looked back on the series that they planned for Khan and thinking, that would make a good TV movie. Now, for me, I actually think it is a much better idea to do it that way because the story is reasonably limited with Khan. You're not going to get 5, 6, 7 seasons out of that unless you basically started it from when he was 10. I think it's far more interesting that we get to see 1, maybe 2 movies based around Khan. Maybe Khan's character appears in one of the TV series prequels in some way. That, again, would be really interesting. The whole point is, though, that I think you can have a far more sharp, far more punchy storyline if it's based around a movie around Khan, rather than a drawn-out 10-episode season, maybe 3 of them. I think this is a far better idea if true. So we could be looking forward to a Khan movie at some point in the future, maybe in 3 or 4 years. That will be worth looking forward to. So the Terry Matalas interview on the Shuttlepod show. There's a link in the description to go and check it out. It's a brilliant insight into one of the most interesting minds in Star Trek. He didn't give a lot away about legacy, even though the rumours continue that they are very keen to do that at some point. Fitting it into the schedule really is the only problem, and, well, the cost. Actually, Jonathan Frakes has been talking about it in an interview, and to be honest, he's talking about it so excitedly and so confidently. And Jonathan Frakes really is a big man within the Star Trek franchise right now. I think it's going to happen. I'd actually be shocked if it didn't. So, what can we look forward to from Star Trek? Star Trek 90210, Star Trek Academy, whether we like it or not. Star Trek Section 31 movie. Another season of Strange New Worlds. A Khan movie. And then maybe Star Trek Legacy. With, hopefully, Terry Matalas showrunning. We can only hope. What do you think about those plans for the Star Trek future? Is that something you're going to be excited by? And is a Khan movie something you're going to be excited by? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos end up first, and you can watch them for a small contribution each month that really supports the channel. You can see them without the adverts. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.